Well, hey there. I'm Jennie Wolek. I'm here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm so excited and grateful that you are going to hang out with me today for a bit as we talk about a super important topic. I know it's not super sexy, but it's so dang important to get good sleep. And we are in an industry that we can grind it. We can keep going and going and working and forget to take time and rest for ourselves. So today is called Restful Success. It's aligning your sleep with your goals. Now, of course, I'm going to throw in some extra stuff besides just talking about snoozing each evening. And so hopefully you'll find some good value and content inside of that. So let's get started, and I can't wait to see what you guys think. So I just kind of think I'm funny. Sometimes I make my own quotes, and that just makes me giggle. But I just found it so interesting that the key to a long life is actually sleeping through lots of it, right? So here's the thing. You guys know from just hearing the word on the street and all the research that's out there that it's so important to get a good night's sleep, and so many of us struggle with that. And so I found this statistic that the average night's sleep is, say, 8 hours. You may be a little short on that. I know I am a bit. But if we sleep, but what ends up happening is that we sleep for about a third of our lives. So if we live to 75 years old, which is a great goal, that is 25 years of sleep or 9,125 days. Like that was a wow factor for me when I really look at the numbers to understand. But the reason is true. The facts are real. Now, what I found is now I definitely have a disclaimer. My disclaimer is that I'm not a doctor. I'm not a sleep expert. I am only a 50-plus-year-old woman who gets to live this life like all of us, figuring out how to best be the best version of myself. And so that is my disclaimer. I am not a professional on this, but I found that some of us have different struggles when it comes to sleeping. Maybe you can fall asleep great, but you wake up and then you can't go back to sleep. Or maybe you have a hard time shutting your brain off in the first place, and that keeps you up and makes you have a restless evening. And so I think just being really aware of where you are when it comes to this area. Now, I've got this whole new asterisk that I need to add to this because being a woman of a maturing age, there also becomes some other factors that start happening in our sleep and our bodies. I'm not going to go into the details. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And there is a whole nother level for us women that could cause some different strains and stresses when it comes to sleeping. Please consult your doctor and just know that the fun thing about this perimenopause, menopause phase is that it's different for all of us. So there is not one right answer for every single one of us. You got to figure out you and your body. And so there's my little disclaimer on the combo for today. So I found that you could search online, you could do some research, and at the end of the day, you will find absolute certainty that sleep is so, so important. And now I just feel like this is kind of where I get a little, stuck is that some of us, there's one group here of us that are super driven to succeed. And you push yourself really, really hard to win. Like you can't slow down to rest or sleep because you are so, so driven. And then there's this other camp, and sometimes I think I'm more in this camp, is that I get stressed more because I don't feel like I want to push myself that hard, but then I see everybody else pushing themselves. So either way, are we stressing ourselves out in this life of, to succeed or not to succeed? And I just think that's kind of the question that we'll talk about today. No, I found though, when I look back on my life, is I've always been a person that chooses sleep over stress. And so what I mean by that is if you can think back to when you were in high school or probably college, if you did the college thing, you would have these big important final exams. And I would have the friends, like we'd have study parties the night before because like last minute we're going to cram in a whole semester of knowledge into our brain. and we would stay up late and drink the coffee and be all amped up. And I finally realized that was not the way to win for me. I was a choose sleep over continuing to try and grind it out to put something into my brain that absolutely won't be there first thing when I wake up in the morning. So I don't know where you are on that camp. If you were more of a, I'm just going to go to sleep and I already know what I know and I'll wake up and go with that, or if you were a push on through. And that's the cool thing, is that we're all different and we get to determine what that looks like for us. But what if though, when we're thinking about this life and stress or work and family, what if we just envision our lives, envision ourselves well rested, vibrant, and on fire to live our best life now? Because you all know that time waits for no one. We don't know what tomorrow holds for us. We don't know when is our last day. So why are we all grinding and stressed about the work, the production, the people, when we should really be internalizing ourselves to be the best version of us? And so for me, what it came down to was just creating a plan where I could insert my purpose, my mission, why am I here, and also know what productivity and is in alignment with that, so that I could build my own personalized routine. So you're going to be the best that you can be whenever you are basing your priorities on your purpose and your passion. I know that's a lot of peas, and I really just want to hammer it home that comparison is the thief of joy, and you've heard it before. So create your business plan, your goals on you, on your style, on what fits best for who you are and what you want in this lifetime. So many of us are always comparing ourselves to others and just beating ourselves up. And again, that causes stress that could have an impact on our sleep. Now, there's some things to consider. What does a successful life look like for you? Are you defining it in your terms and your family and your goals? And, what are the most important areas of your life? We talk about in the one thing on page 114, you've definitely reviewed those 7 circles. Those may not be your 7 circles. Maybe you have some different circles. So what are your most important areas for your life? And then you have the different time blocks for success. What does that look like for you? So the main point I'm trying to make here is, as we get all up into this material, is that you get to define what success looks like for you. This year, I have a different definition of success. My daughter is heading off to college next year. She's a senior in high school. She's what matters most. My time with her is what matters most. So are you very, very clear with yourself and your family and your clients of what matters most? Am I still showing up in my work? Of course, absolutely. But I have very clear values so that it's very easy for me to make decisions based on what is important in my life. Now, here's just a quick little checklist for us. This came from Gary Keller. He did a social media post one time, and Gary said this. He said, "The truth is that things don't matter equally, and success is found in doing what matters most." So what does that even mean? Well, you got to get clear on what is the most important thing to you, and not everything is equally as important. So this is where I get a little, touched, is in the reminder for myself and for you that it is not about the number of houses that you sell, but the impact and the legacy that you leave. So what legacy do you choose to leave? How much money is actually needed? See, this is the problem with our real estate world. We could work every day of the week, of the month, of the year. We could continue to grind it through all hours of the day if we wanted to, because our income is limitless, right? It really is. And so are we still working because we don't know what our end number is. See, so many of us just go, go, go because we feel like we have to or we're living in scarcity. But if we know what our final stop working number is for the year, then maybe we would let ourselves off the fast track there and take a breather when we know it's so important. I love the term to be optionally employed. What would that look like for you that you earn the income that you need to cover all of your costs, that you even get to a point where you have investments that help pay you back so that you're working just because you enjoy working? Wouldn't that be a cool goal to have? Now, I mentioned values. What are your values? They are the filter for you. They help you say yes and no every single day. It's very easy for me to say yes or no to things when I'm very clear on my values. Now, here's the thing is like some people say, I don't know what my values are. Well, your values are what shows up on your calendar. What are you letting into your day? That's what you're saying yes to because it's on your calendar. And so, what story is that telling? Or what would that tell someone else if they didn't know you? They'd be able to see who you truly are. And so, whenever we get to think about what your purpose is and why you're here, I've done many training classes on this topic. I love the mission statement exercise where you can work through some important questions to go deep on why am I here and what is my purpose? And this is a really important question to ask yourself is if tomorrow was your last day, I know it's morbid and sad, but what are you most grateful for? Make a list. And what would you be really sad or mad about that you didn't get to accomplish? That one could really get you. And then the last question that I want you to ponder, do the people you love know how much you love them? This is your reminder after you're off this session here today. Text or call the people that are important in your life so that they know how much you care about them. Because time does equal love in many people's minds. And so are you giving those that you love your time, whether physically or through a phone conversation? So I share all these tips with you because this is just kind of something I think through. I know it's deep and weird, but I want to make sure that I'm living my best life now. I don't want to wait until it's too late. And so, the most important areas of your life are your choices, like I already said. You get to determine this, not anybody else, not your team leader, not your coach, not your friends, not your family. These are your areas of life. And so these are where I usually start. This is just an example. I like providing you guys with some real actionable tools that I use. So think about your life and where you are when it comes to all of the areas, the personal areas of your life, the professional areas of your life, and are they in balance? And what might need some adjustments or improvements? Or are you doing something that isn't important to you? Well, stop it. Stop it. You don't need to be doing things that aren't in alignment with who you are or what you want. And you're asking yourself, how does this relate to the topic? All of these things that we're doing to ourselves, overthinking or stressing or planning, is holding us back from peaceful rest and recovery. And that happens each evening when we are done with our work and we're spending time with ourselves or our families or our furry friends. We are stressed out from not thinking about these things and then overwhelmed when they pop up into our lives and we have to then figure it out on the fly. So I'm always wanting to give myself grace. I always am okay. I don't feel 100% today. Right now, my nose is dripping down my face. You guys can't see it because I'm on Zoom. I don't feel great. And so I gave myself grace this morning to go a little slower, to hydrate, to refuel, to reset, to work on myself so that I am feeling more healthy and strong for you. And so are you just giving yourself grace or are you continuing to grind it? Because I feel like that's usually what we're doing. Now, think about these are my areas. pick or choose what you like. I like to focus on how's my mind, how's my body, my physical body, my spirit. These are where I start because I know that everything, leaders, being a great leader starts with personal leadership. Being a great human starts with first leading myself well so that I can be the best for other people. And so that's where I always start in my time blocks and in my calendar. I'm going to first get me right before I can be right for everybody else. And then another category that's really important in an area of your life is we got to earn money. So yes, we got to have all of our personal stuff figured out, but in the professional arena, we do need to make money. Maybe you don't. That's cool if you don't. But most of us are here today because you know that you have a desire to earn income. So you get to earn some money. And then with that benefit becomes an opportunity to invest or even give. It's a beautiful thing. So that is a part of your plan. Not only do I get to earn compensation for my services, I then know where that money is going to go. I'm going to allot it to, things that have a return on that investment and or giving back because that feels good. And then, of course, my people. People would be to me, these are the other most important area of my life. This would be my family first and foremost, my close friends, and my team members, those that are closest to me, and then also my community. So when I am time blocking and thinking about my life, am I touching all of these important buckets of business and opportunities for me? So your big rocks, you get to determine what they are. You have buckets of business, of opportunities, and time blocks, and they all move us forward every single day. I think about every day. And so before we get all into a little bit more of the sleep stuff, I want to share these different time blocks for you. These are more personal productivity stuff, but they help me sleep better at night. It's all tied together. Because if you time block for your sleep success, you block your work in your personal calendar in advance. Of course, in your work calendar, you've got those big rocks, the things that must be done in order for you to succeed in your area of expertise. And then don't forget about buffer blocks. Buffer blocks are so important because so many of us block ourselves back to back to back to back without any breathing time, without any resetting or eating or hydrating time. It has to be inserted into your day that you breathe, go for a walk, and just reset. Because again, we're just going from one thing to the next, which adds to stress and adds to not sleeping as well at night, I think. And then this is so important, and I know that a lot of us can feel the anxiousness of the business, no matter where you are in years of experience or production or productivity in real estate or life. You could just keep going. You could stay on your phone. You could be on your computer. Oh, I forgot to send that email to that person or do that CMA that I promised I would send, whatever the thing is that pops up in your mind in the evenings. You have to have a stop working time. I just had to put this on my calendar. I chose to put this on my calendar even when my daughter was a little person. I'd pick her up after school every single day, and I would have time with her. I'd have a 5 o'clock catch up and reset if I missed anything, and then I would be done with work. Of course, if things come in, you just reply promptly. I'm so sorry I missed your call. I'll get back with you in the morning. You train people how to teach you. So, with this also, I want to remind us about blocking for mindfulness, quiet time, thinking time, and being okay with that downtime. So, as you grow and leverage, you actually will have more time to think and to dream. And we otherwise can get stuck in this rut. I was always in this hamster wheel of wanting more for myself and my business and my life, but never slowing down to block thinking time. Well, how am I going to do that? I was just going. And we have to have some self-care, as you know. I have a massage book this afternoon, and I am not missing it because I know the importance of taking care of myself. And look, I came up with this myself. Self-care is a big hug just for you. I don't know where I came up with this stuff, but I feel like it's important. Self-care is so, so important. And if you've done your big rocks, and you are moving your business forward, celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. I'm going to talk about that here in a minute as we get going a little bit more. But here's the deal. It's right from this book. It's called The One Thing. You guys have seen it, you've heard it, you've read it. It's one of my favorite productivity tools. And it says on page 164, I have a lot of sticky notes in here. On page 164 at the bottom, resting is as important as working. There are few examples of successful people who violate this, but they are not our role models. They succeed in spite of how they rest and renew, not because of it. So it's documented and it's true. You got to rest. And this carries into how well you rest in the evening at night. Now, I have a couple little things I've thrown in here because I'm a super fan of Dan Sullivan and William and Ben Hardy's books. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but right now I'm listening to 10X is easier than 2X. And this is where I went, wait, this totally fits in to the conversation that we're having here today. So Dan Sullivan says it's not effort that matters, but where that effort is directed. So why does that matter? Well, because he's talking about your time management. There are three key time management elements: free, focus, and buffer. So in their book, 10X is easier than 2X, they're talking about this idea that a 10X improvement or growth can be simpler than aiming for a smaller 2X improvement because it encourages a mindset shift towards thinking radical thinking, focusing on high impact strategies rather than incremental changes. So I don't know if you've read this book yet, but it's a great one. And the three time management elements that I want to talk about that fit into today's convo is about this free day. You have to block free days for rest and rejuvenation. Now, this is about sleeping at night and resting and having free focus and buffer days, purposeful days already blocked. You will have a better night's sleep because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but taking time for you as well. Now, the focus days are the day that you are deep, productive work. This is all out. I'm doing my job. I'm in performance mode. Now, the buffer days are days that you're planning for those focus days. So if you notice, free comes first. And this is just like what Gary Keller always teaches us. Before you map out your marketing plan, your prospecting plan, your business plan for the year, you first block off your vacations, your weekends, your time off, your all of the things that allow you to rest and rejuvenate so that you can come back and have powerful focus days. Now, this is also right from this whole idea of the free focus and buffer, is that by actively scheduling this rest and recovery time when aiming for your large goals, you can prevent burnout that might occur from trying to constantly push for small improvements. So you get it. This is burnout prevention when you block your calendar in a purposeful way, like we've discussed. Now, everything, I've heard Jordan Freed say this quote a zillion times, and I found it inside of this book as well, The Gap and the Gain. This has been a life-changing book, to be honest. The Gap and the Gain, if you haven't read that yet, it's also by Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy. So everything in your life happens for you, not to you. Do you see the difference? If it's happening to you, you're being a victim about it. but really it's an abundant mindset when it's happening for me. Even if it's not something I expected or wanted, it's happening for me and for the greater good of me. And so inside of their book, The Gap and the Gain, they talk about this concept where you focus on your gains, the progress you have made, rather than the gap, the distance to your goal, or what you thought your goal should be, or where you think you should be. I brought this up yesterday because I was talking with an agent who expressed to me extreme stress, extreme. So I know she's not sleeping well at night if she's carrying this stress through the day. She's hitting her goals. She's achieving, has a fat pipeline of production. She's doubled her production over the last year. And now she's living in the gap of the fear of the, oh crap, can I keep it going? Rather than appreciating and celebrating how far she's come. Now, why I put this in here is because I feel like it totally relates to how we rest and recover and really take care of ourselves. So this is a hack I got right from The Gap and the Gain over a year ago when I read this book, and it really is on my phone. If you look at the top of my phone right there in my little widget Smith that my daughter created for me, it has my 3 wins where I ask myself, how did I win today? What am I grateful for? And what are my 3 wins for tomorrow? See, because if I just have a few things that are going to help me win the day, I'm a success. Today I won the day. I'm going to feel good about myself. I'm going to sleep better. I'm going to put a little bow on my day when I'm wrapping up and winding down and turning out the lights and putting my mind to sleep. If I feel like I've accomplished something, and gratitude is for sure another way to do it. So put these on your phone or as a calendar reminder in the evening of start winding down and thinking about these things. Now, these are my hacks and tricks. Now, you guys, I made them up. So there's 3 slides here. We'll share these slides with you if you want to come back and look at it. But I have, like I said, I'm a more mature woman in my 50s now. I'm just saying 50s because I'm not going to keep saying the number. We're just going to stay right there. But I wake up every morning, and this has happened for years and years and years. And I remind myself, even if I don't want to get out of bed, or I do need to hit the snooze one time, I do purposefully snooze one time each morning. And that allows me to start thinking about and planning and visualizing my day. But I tell myself, today's going to be a great day. No matter what, it will be a great day. And I do start each day with gratitude and a few goals. We just do it as a team as part of our morning routine. We have a channel and outside of our Slack tool that we share our gratitude for the day and our 3 goals. So if you're going to think about those 3 wins for yourself, that's fine. Or maybe share them with others if you have a team or others in your world. And then each day we have the recap. So we have an end of day wins channel inside of Slack. So we say if we did those 3 things, so yay, I won the day. Or maybe we got to add in a few other things like the number of people we got to talk to or appointments that we set. Now this one is just really all so important to me is just share your smile and own your happiness. I know that we just had Dr. Robin at family reunion. She spoke at the CEO Summit, and she said she always, on purpose, lights up when her kids come into the room because she wants them to feel amazing and that they are loved. And that's so important and something I'd love to do as well. And then exercise for a little bit. I mean, go for a walk. Finally, we have maybe, hopefully, you have a little bit of sunshine outside. Just go outside and breathe and take a break. Especially if you work from home or work in an office setting, get outside for a minute to clear your mind and refresh your body. Do not feel guilty for this activity. This is important. This rest and recovery is crucial to you being the best version of you. Get the sunshine. This is something, if you've done research on how to sleep well at night, this is what they talk about. They talk about getting sunshine or natural light during the day. I know Mel Robbins had a great podcast on this topic where just starting your day with sun and starting your day with water. And when it's time then to go to bed, as much complete darkness as possible and turn off the TV. My husband likes keeping the TV on for a little bit. I don't, but I click it off as soon as he's out, so it's totally fine. But if you do wake up in the middle of the night, this happens to me a lot these days. It's either from my own needs or that of my puppy dog, Lila. If I do get up, I keep it dark, I keep it quiet. I don't touch my phone, even if there's tons of notifications on there. That then will just wake you right up and make it a little bit harder to go back to sleep. These are just all tips I've either learned myself or I've read about or have implemented. But eating real food helps. Your processed food and sugars, if when you put crap in your body, you're going to feel like crap. And that has an impact on the way you sleep. It really, really does. And if you eat at home and meal prep and have healthy dinner, you're going to live longer and sleep better because you are taking care of yourself on the inside. And I like to determine what metrics I'm going to measure. So for me, on my 411, I'm making sure that I'm tracking how much water I'm getting. I mean, if you've got one of these Stanleys, it just takes a few of those a day to hit your hydration goal. Put in some electrolyte salts or collagen, whatever. That's all the things I do these days. And get in some exercise. I think monitoring with different, whether it's your watch or your other apps on your phone, allows you to determine if what you're doing is working. All right, now we're almost done with all my tips, but I mean, I had a lot. So eat early enough. This is another one that I've read about. You probably have heard of it too. You want to eat early enough before bedtime so that it allows for your stomach to do its work in all of the digesting that needs to happen. Let it do its job, or otherwise it won't if you're laying down and going to sleep. The water thing in the morning, I mentioned that came right from Mel Robbins, and I know other studies. She does all the research and then shares it with us. But it also helps our skin. I'm very dehydrated when it comes to the winter right now. I mean, the dry skin, the elements that we can't control, but what we can is what we put in to our body. The blue light, you've probably read about this one too. Eliminate blue light, noise, and disruptions when it's time to wind down. And they're really saying at least 30 minutes before. I have friends, and we talk about all the time, like we have this habit of get into bed and do the last little scrolling that we do. You know what I'm talking about? You know who you are. And we do that before bed scroll. We've got to stop it or just do it before. Do it before you get in the bed. Do it before it's 30 minutes before you want to be asleep, because that's helping us stay awake longer or not sleeping as well. Now, this one is silly but serious. Remove as much stress, limiting beliefs, and to-do lists from your mind. We've got to bless and release those thoughts because in our sleep state, we can't take care of them. So do you have a notepad by your bed? Not your phone, not your phone. Do you have a notepad by your bed for when you wake up with this amazing idea? Now, Gary Keller just mentioned this at CEO Summit. He said that he'll wake up in the middle of the night at 3 in the morning, maybe go potty, take, whatever happens for people. And then he has an idea and he just goes, knocks it out for 30 minutes. Maybe that's your jam, but he has no problem falling back to sleep. So maybe that's your creative time. Cool, whatever works for you. I'm not going to argue with a billionaire. But for me, I just like to know I can get a good night's sleep and I'll be okay the next morning and hopefully remember that brilliant idea that I had. The reason I talked about these last two a lot is because that's where this whole session started. We've been hanging out here for a while, and all I was talking about was personal and professional productivity. because the less stress we have in those important areas of our life, they will allow us to sleep better at night because our minds are more clear and hopefully at more peace. All right. So here's the deal. This is your life. Just take ownership of it. I know that sometimes there are more extreme situations when it comes to sleeping, and I disclosed from the beginning, I am not a doctor. So if you definitely have something that's more than just what we talked about here of clearing your mind and being at peace and getting good sleep, then yes, go talk to a professional because that's not me. But I'm just sharing the lessons that I've learned of how I get a good night's sleep. I feel awake and alive and energized in the mornings that I then can do it all over again. Because that's the point. That is the point of helping others and impacting lives and leaving a legacy is mine to own and only mine. And I want you to as well. Now, I just saw this. I don't know if you follow Brendan Bouchard on Instagram. I saw this the other day and I thought, oh, this totally goes with our conversation on sleep. So he's had this 3-2-1 sleep formula. So 3 hours before bed, no food, right? That's giving yourself that time to digest and to wind down the workings of your inside. 2 hours before bed, no work. Got to stop it. Have that shutdown time. Like I said, that end of day, I'm done working time. And then 1 hour before bed, no screens. Can you do it? Can you do it? I can't wait to know if you really can. But sleep is beautiful when you get good sleep, and so are you. You are beautiful inside and out. And whenever we sleep so well, it allows us to be the best version of ourselves. Now, I'm going to wrap up with this little quote here from this guy, Sean Stevenson. When I was doing research on this topic, he has a book called Sleep Smarter. And I hadn't read the whole book, but I did pull these pieces out. And he says that sleep is not the enemy of productivity. Sleep is not the enemy of productivity. Because, see, I think what he's talking about here is so many of us drivers fear that if we sleep, we're not going to be as productive as we could be. Okay, so sleep is not the enemy of productivity or an obstacle to overcome. Like some people might try and hack sleep and just stay wide awake so that they can get more done. But he says it is a necessary restorative state, vital for our physical and psychological well-being. It is vital. It is vital to sleep. We simply cannot be healthy or function at peak performance without it, without good quality sleep. So that is what is happening on this topic. I do have some upcoming training classes and sessions, and we've got some discount codes. I'll send this in an email to you guys if you want to dive deeper and learn more and grow with me. If you're a Momentum member, you guys have all of this for free, so don't worry about signing up today on these links. And of course, please reach out if you need me, and I'm happy to hang out with you guys today. See you later.